Welcome back.
Aye, we're here.
Yes.
We made it.
Yes, finally. We've missed it.
We have.
Yeah. It's currently February.
It is.
And I have a chair.
Look at that. Isn't she beautiful?
Look at all this space.
I know.
And today we're going goal setting.
Aye. Let's tell everybody how easy it is to fuck up your goals and then spend 10 years figuring out how to make better goals and then figure out that you're just going to die anyway.
Let's go.
So I'm thinking that our journey in terms of like goal setting, visualizing, vision, who we are as people, what we like to do, what makes our life purposeful. Like me and you, like we've been pretty closely aligned on this type of thing, this way of thinking for quite some time. And I think ultimately there's an innate part of us that does it and has always done it to some extent. And then there's this sort of more like intentional, purposeful way of doing it that we've sort of like grasped onto on like, say like the last, I don't know, 10 years actually, probably, if you think back to CMA as well, like the learnings that we've had from people who are the gods of this sort of shit, like time management, strategy, self-actualization, and all that kind of jazz. Like we've really sort of like leaned into it, but I can imagine that we've taken different things from it as well. So like, I think specifically if I was to think about like my sort of heritage of having lists and making plans, I wondered like to myself like where it actually stemmed from. And obviously everything comes back to childhood, but it comes from, I think for me, it was when I was wee, my mum travelled a lot for work. And a way of my mum's deflecting the fact that she was fucking off for several weeks at a time into a foreign land was that she would plan with me what we would do when she came back. And she was amazing at sort of like painting a picture of all the different things and how to be excited about it. And oh, isn't that a really good idea? Well, we do that. That'll be great fun. So I think from that, I think that's where I learned the joy of it. Like I really actually, like there's nothing that excites me more than a fucking shit hot plan. You know, I love to sort of plan out my day on a daily basis anyway. I know that for a fact. And I have certain sort of rituals and how I do that. So I was thinking like back to like how I organize myself, and it comes like in my mind quite clear. Like I go into like minute details of if I'm saying I'm going to the shop, for example, it's like I'm thinking the entire process through in my head. Like where's the car keys, get in the truck, drive the truck, I'm going to park here, this is where I like to park, then I'm going to go into the shop, then I'm going to do this, these are the items I need, blah 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 blah. And it's like I can see the insides of like every school, every hospital, every business building I've ever been to, every supermarket, every, you know, shopping centre, like anywhere I have to go somewhere that's purposeful to the end result, the outcome, like I have a plan for it in my head. And I don't know if that's a bit mental or if that's normal, but for me it feels comforting. And I like to have things planned out to the letter. Whether or not they go that way or not, you know, like often or not, then it doesn't work out. And I also have several backup plans for that scenario too. So I'm very like drawn to that sort of like excitement around it. And I feel, you know, when we get a plan together, and especially when we're talking about our projects that we work on, Nick, like we start to see the picture in our heads at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, and then this will do this and we'll do that. And then you know what would be really cool or what would feel really good. And then we're both painting the same picture together. Like if you could actually see it up in the sky, like what's going on. Yeah, we're probably fucking nuts, but but I do feel like that's the thing that excites me the most is like future planning, what's coming next. I know it also like conflicts with like being present and enjoying the moment, but it's just the way that I am, and I'm being very like intentional with my second husband or my current husband, because he has that mindset too, and if anything, like he leans far more onto like learning about it, literature around it, different models and frameworks that people use for it. These are the things that he teaches, so it does make it harder for me to control him and manipulate him into my plan. So I mean, that's probably notes for husband number 3. But like it is good to have similar people around that respect a decent plan.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about making plans, goal setting, visualizing, creating a vision.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's come from for me. But when I was asking you, like, you were like, oh, wait a minute, when did I do this?
Yeah.
When did I start this?
Yeah, I think I can't remember specifically like when I started goal setting. It might have been around about. So I think I was introduced to it around about college time when I was doing my degree, because we were doing personal development stuff. And I think that's when it kind of came in. I was like, reading like motivational speaker stuff and like Tony Robbins and all those kinds of people. So I think I was introduced to it around about then. And even at that time as well, I would say like if I had something in my head, I'd just go for it. Like there was no doubt about it. Doing uni was one of them. I was just like, I'm going to uni. I can do this. Like, let's go. That was a goal, like in itself. But I think like in terms of, and then I've had like goals in the past, like, you get to January and then you're just like, like I'm going to lose weight.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. So I've had those types of goals in the past, but I didn't really get intentional with it properly until around about CMA time when we were working with Chris. And it's probably because what you've said, like he researches this stuff, he knows the systems behind it, and he brings that thinking into in and around the people that he's working with as well. So in those years I've been exposed to much more around about goal setting, between just going out there and discovering it, listening to Chris, watching, experiencing it and listening to yourself, watching other people's podcasts and stuff. And I agree with you, it's just a matter of like I didn't follow any one system, because I have tried to follow one system before, and I get pissed off with myself when the system doesn't work. So it's more about collating all the learnings and the knowledge in your head and finding the right system for yourself that works for you.
Yeah, like that. I've written that down about cherry picking the best bits that are relative to me, and then just like quickly dump the meaning. Like I'm not really that bothered because I'm going to make it into my own.
Yeah.
There's it's going to get to a point where I'm like, I kind of like that idea. I like that idea too, but no, I don't like the way that they take that idea, and then you kind of build it into your own.
Yeah.
So like I think when you look at anything that I write down in the ways that I do my goal planning or my strategy, even for business and personal life too, you would be able to identify other people's thought leaders, people's books that have influenced that. And it might look a little bit whacked because actually I've like molded it into something totally different that's specific to Cara Brain.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I think like, I don't know if it's for you, like one of the things that I learned from you, definitely in the goal setting part, is that you can have, everything that you read from the books and stuff is like, it feels systematic. It's very systematic and almost like rigid in a way.
Very masculine.
That's exactly it. Whereas from yourself, what I've learned is like, you can have, you are a dream woman, right? You talk about dreams, you believe in other people's dreams. So you, because you believe in the dreams and you see the future and you see the visions and stuff like that, you express those. And then ultimately it comes back to, right, what are we doing today? And I love the vision and the dreams part, because like I feel like I need that specifically to keep it open, rather than when you follow a rigid system, it feels like a prison.
Yeah.
Compared to actually just having your dreams out there, where it could be a bit more open and not and free is what it is. Because at the end of the day, you didn't sometimes you didn't really know where it's the North Star stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like you know where you want to go, but and you'll do the actions today, but you didn't really know how it is that you're going to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I feel that too, for sure. I think like on reflection as well, because we talk about that quite a bit, and I think we both do reflection well. I think there's definitely room for us to be less self-critical when we do reflection. However, we actually actively do it, which a lot of people don't. And I think it's such a powerful tool to be able to make clearer decisions for the future if you can reflect well on yourself and or situations and things that have like become in your life. So like I think lessons for sure for me in terms of goal setting is things that I've gotten wrong, I suppose, in the past is like getting bogged down in negative reflection. So spending far too much time on what didn't work well instead of looking at what has worked well. Because especially when you have such a high expectation of achieving many things in an unachievable amount of time and you can get totally fixated on the stuff that you didn't manage to get to do, and that's like really evident even just in a day-to-day. Like it's a mother's fucking punishment is still holding onto the staircase just before you're about to go to bed and be like, oh, didn't get that done today, didn't get that done today, oh fuck's sake, blah blah blah. And there's no acknowledgement for all the many things that you've had to do, and also the things that were completely unforeseen that you had to deal with also. So in order to be able to reflect, there has to be equal measure there. And if you're just constantly focusing on negative bullshit of stuff that never got done, then that doesn't actually benefit you in any way, shape or form for the next day or the next month or the next whatever. So that one of my deepest lessons is to show myself a little bit of fucking kindness when doing reflection, and make sure that I acknowledge what I have actually done. And I think by doing that, it actually spurs on better ideas for what's to come next, rather than just focusing on negative shite. But then there's so many different things that you could focus on. So how do you like collate your like ideas about what these goals are? Like, are you looking at challenges first, or things that you would like to improve on, or are you just thinking about things that you would really like to do?
So like I asked myself, like even this year, like I've asked myself like a bunch of questions, like I've got them here, like, what brought me joy last year specifically, because like for me I would want to continue that going forward and not forget about that specifically. Like what do you feel that you need more of? What have you not been doing that your gut tells you should be? What part of your life requires attention? So the gut part for me, the gut part for me is creativity, and that's the one that's always there. Like I'm not doing enough of that. Then like is there a part of your life that requires attention? Like my relationships need to require attention. And then what am I willing to go through pain to get specifically? That comes back to the creativity stuff for me. One of the things I need to ask myself as well, your goals to like me, my soul, or are you doing it to try and impress other people? So a lot of my goals in the past, I would say, have been around about trying to either impress other people or just learned behaviours in terms of how you're supposed to be as a person.
Perfect, yeah.
Compared to actually truly listening to yourself. And it's not an easy thing to do that. It comes with the self-awareness, it comes with the reflections, it comes with the space to listen to yourself in order to get those answers. So like those are just like some questions that like I ask myself in order to get to like a mind map of the 8 key areas that I want to work on. And I think we did an exercise actually a few years ago at a retreat, we did, there's like 7 areas of life.
Oh yeah, the wheel of life or something. Yeah.
And I think that stuck in a way, but
Yeah.
I've shaped it a little bit more for myself specifically.
Yeah.
So like, you know, things like health, relationships. I've got adventure here. Adventure's a big one for me. Spiritual, home, financial, creativity. So those are like those were the key areas for me, and I'm like, I want to work on these areas. I need to work on those areas, and then it's for me a matter of going, right, so like, what are the other ideas that are coming into my head in terms of what I want to do in these specific areas, and some of them come really easy and some of them do not. So like, for example, like the health one, I would say came pretty easy for me, but my relationships one didn't. So we're into February now, and I've been thinking about this since the start of January in terms of trying to shape those for myself. So it needs time. Like, these things need a lot of thinking and a lot of time in terms of getting to where you want them to be. So yeah, that's where I tend to start for these things. It's just like, get it, because you are thinking about it. I'm thinking about this from kind of October onwards as the year's ending, but it's not a good time for me to be sitting writing that stuff down, because just for me specific, it's so social at that time of year, it's so busy at that time of year, you just want to get to the end of the year type thing so you can chill out. And then for me specifically, January to February is a quiet time, mind space to really like hone in on this stuff and think about it. So
I think I do like a lot more of my structural planning in October. So but that's a learned thing to like get ahead of everybody else. So like for 2026, if I don't do my planning the way that I need it done in terms of work and for personal, then what will happen is that everything else will become a priority over that, and then I'll be left an entire year where there's just nothing going the way that I was originally wanting it to. So like, business picks up not too quickly, but picks up fast, and then you're just in the thick of operations and you're not actually getting to plan out what's supposed to happen when. And I'm just talking just like labour distribution, their holidays, everything to do with anything that needs to happen internally with the business, meetings, days out, looking after each other, our one-to-ones, our meetings, the structure of a day, training, all of those things. If I want any of that to happen, I have to be miles ahead. It has to be done in October. If I want to have a holiday, if I want to book dedicated, intentional time off with my husband, all has to happen in October. Have to be like, I know that that's my time, and I'll take myself away for 2-3 days and plan it all out. But that's because I have a huge amount of responsibility. So I've got a large number of people that are under my jurisdiction, which means that if I can't get ahead of them, if I can't be prepared enough for them, then it's only a matter of time that it comes round, and now it's February and I'm failing people. So, and I don't mean that in a sense that I'm here to please. I mean that in a sense for me to do my job properly. So that's a big deal for me. I always do a solid planning session in October by myself. Leave me the fuck alone. And I need the space and time to do that. And that is a case of, as boring as it can sound, like a Google Calendar and just lists and lists of who's where and what. And that's what I do. And it does give me a little bit of creativity in that space, in terms of like, I have a chance to dream, because nobody else is asking anything of me yet, because they don't even know that year exists yet. No. they're still definitely in this year. So I do quietly enjoy the freedom of that, to not have laid upon expectation or needs to be met, whilst I get to just etch out. And I see, like, you know, it's very much a stitch in a draft of just how the year could go, how it can swim through all the months, and before you know it, it's fucking done again, and it's October again.
Yeah, that's it.
So intentional, and I have to be intentional. I feel not to like get into mortality, but very much so, like, make it worth it, make it count. Fucking such a short span of time here, so I want to be intentional about it. I want to spend the time with the right people, be doing the right things that make me happy, and make sure that I have something left to give to the world when I go. So I think, yeah, that's my October. And it's not to say like it's nowhere near as what I know what you've got to deal with in your family in terms of like, you've got, how many birthdays is it? 3 birthdays in November.
Oh, yeah.
It's like ridiculous.
Yes.
Like you're fucking up against it, and you've got huge family connections and stuff. So I totally appreciate what you've got for you in that world, and how, in terms of your spirituality, like how January actually really aligns with being the right time for you. So a bit more about that, because that's something that I have on the periphery, but I don't do it the way that you do it. Like, I'll remember about a full moon when it's a full moon, and I'll be like, or a new moon, and I'll say to Loon about her stones and stuff like that. But more so just like for a bit of fun, but not as guidance as such. But you use the moon quite significantly for you.
Yeah, it didn't start off that way. I think, like, spiritually, I was I really like pagan and witch stuff. I discovered it, came into it. I really like the way that they think about the world. It's very nature based as well. And that just it was just something that completely aligned with me. And then through that, you do your moon ritual. So it started off with so the new moons is about setting your intentions for the cycle ahead, and then the full moon is about what you're letting go of, and then you can set some more intentions in that moment as well. And I found that practice it's space for yourself. It's space for yourself to think about this, because it's funny when I speak to other people about it and they're just like, oh, witchy woo woo stuff, like, and that's fine at the same time. But I was like, actually, like, some of the questions that that you discover in going through that for yourself, I'm like, it's space for yourself to actually think. It's not really woo woo stuff. It's actually a reflection, and a really intentional reflection as well that I found. But I've shaped it even more because for me, I lose track of my goals.
Yeah.
It's very easy for me to lose track of my goals.
What time of year?
So usually...
How far do we get in?
Usually, last year was really early. It was really early last year. But I would
Kick to the fucking curb. See you later.
Aye, that's it. And then I'd say usually around about summertime is when I start to lose track of it. I think maybe it's just because I'm enjoying summer.
Yeah.
Like, I really like the summertime. And there's so much going on in the summer. And then by the time the end of the summer comes, it's just like survival to the end of the year. And that's it. So for me, like, the moon cycles holds me to account.
Yeah.
To look at to continue to look at the goals, and I'm really intentionally doing that this year, so that because I was like, right, I need space. I knew for myself, I'm like, I need space to make sure that I'm constantly going back on my goals, so I don't lose track of where I'm going.
Yeah.
And because I already done the moon rituals, it's like, well, it makes sense for me to just integrate it into this.
I just think, like, it's so clever. Like, you're anchored by something that will continually happen, whether you happen or not. Like, the moon will always do its thing. And so, like, you don't have to set it up. You don't have to have an alarm. You don't have to have a process or whatever. It's all there for you. You just got to turn up.
Yeah.
Which, like, for most people, they over-engineer it, overcomplicate it. Like, they've got to jump through hoops in order to be able to re-strategize themselves, and all you've got to do is wait for the moon. Aye. And she'll tell you. Honestly, I think it's fucking clever as fuck to be able to anchor yourself properly and be held accountable to something as natural as the moon. Like, I love it. And yeah, you're right, it is fucking woo woo. What are you gonna do about it? I fucking love it. I think, like, especially with that sort of stuff. Now, we will talk about influences in a minute, but for me, I love that you're my strongest influence when it comes to spirituality. I love everything, like, about you in terms of, like, when we're trying, like, any one of us here at work or otherwise, like channeling our fucking zen, like that comes from you. Like, it's like, be more Nick, like, you know, where's your zen? Find your feet, find your ground, you know, that, all that sort of stuff. So I love that you're my influence for that. So I will continue to aspire to finding my moon and getting my shit sorted.
Come join my coffee.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so the other thing I was thinking about was how we, so when you were talking about your mind mapping and categorizing and like the wheel of life sort of thing, it's funny because we touched on the fact that like we steal strategies for planning and then make it our own. And when you were talking about the wheel of life, I had made no connection to the fact that that's actually what I've got done. Like, I've robbed this. So when I was doing my vision planning, quite similarly, I there does come out a reflection, but there's also like, you have been thinking about this for ages and you know what things that you would like to do versus the things that you have to do and what have you. So it's like resetting yourself, and it's not like about creating like a brand new fucking identity, like a New Year's resolution where all of a sudden I'm not going to want to have a fag and I'm not bothered about drinking anymore. You know, it's not about that. It's more than that.
Yeah.
And these are just behavioral things. And these are like, you know, all of a sudden, like, I'm going to learn how to play the violin. Like, I've never fucking picked up a violin in my life, but this year's the year. Like, when it comes to resolution, like, I've got a lot to say about many failed ones. So when I'm thinking about my actual goals, I write down just some honest truths to myself after sort of going through the reflections of how the year has went, very similar to what you said. So, and I start with my own mind in terms of like what needs to happen in terms for me to feel mentally healthy, mentally fit, mentally purposeful, like I'm actually doing something for myself. And one of those things for me last year, and actually I think for the past couple of years at least, that has been massively lagging is writing. For some reason, I can't really pinpoint what it was, but I've silenced myself in some way. But I think it's a lot to do with just the noise in general about what content creation really is and how whether or not it's worth it to what you've got to say or what your thoughts are. Does it really need to be said? Has it already been said? Are you just adding more noise to the fucking shit heap? So I struggled with that. But I think with everything that's coming about in terms of like, they talk about like AI slop and what have you, and creativity of the mind and humans actually being able to create. Like, I think, well, no, you're right. I do have to make an effort, even especially just for myself, for my own sanity. So one of the things for me this year was that I have to do writing, and I've made accountability with that. I've got an accountability peer group with my husband Chris and my two best pals Cole and Ross. Ross, shout out. And so I said to them yesterday at our meeting that that's the only thing I want accountability for. Normally we go into these meetings and I'm like, right, all these things, Gillies Mackay needs to get his shit together. I want boom, boom, boom. I'm going to be famous, right? That's usually how my accountability goes. I'm a very rich billionaire and famous. And if I'm not done that by next accountability meeting in a month's time, then fucked it. So this time I said, can you please hold me accountable to writing 2 blogs? So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do some writing. And then the other thing I was thinking about, and something that we definitely want to talk about, is social media in the future and what social media stops me from doing. And it's funny because I was listening to Kyla Cobbler, the Irish comedian, the other day. She said exactly the same thing: nighttime reading instead of fucking doom scrolling to our addiction. So my reading is, I have to expose myself to creativity, to be creative, and get the fuck off of social media because it's rotting my brain. Then the next thing is quality time, which is to do with our relationships and communications. So it's like quality time alone for myself is something that is very sparse. I can count on one hand the amount of times I have been in my own home by myself in the last 7 years. So I need alone time. So I've got to create this somehow. So I've scheduled my out of office on a Monday. So that's supposed to be my day. I worked pretty much all of yesterday. Which was a Monday, and have failed dramatically at my alone time on a Monday. And the other time is when Chris takes Luna swimming on a Saturday morning. That is my alone time, and it is actually working out that I'm getting like an hour and a half to myself in the house by myself. Paddy is there, but he is a teenager and he is fast asleep, so yeah. I get the house to myself. So alone time's working, and I want to have more fun with quality time. I want to have fun with friends. I want to have fun with Chris, with the kids, be conscious about the lack of fun I'm having with my children, that everything is just like up, out, in, tea, bed, up, out, in, tea, bed. Sad. Like fucking so sad. So more fun with the children. Chris and I have made a rule. I don't know if it's a rule or a rod for our own fucking back. We'll see how it goes this weekend. There is no bedtime on a Saturday.
Oh.
On a Spencer weekend specifically.
That sounds exciting.
Mainly because we only get Spencer for less than 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So when he is here, let's treat it as if we're on holiday, as if it's a fucking treat, as if it's a party. We were reminiscing about like our parents in like the 80s and 90s, and like how we can't remember them being the way that we are being, so regimented with like everything, whereas like it just seems so much more laxed. And whether or not that's true, I have no idea, but I just remember so much more of the parties, of the visitors being round, of having a good time, of people having fun. Like there's no fucking laptop or work in the way. It's just your mum and dad there with you, being present. So some of that is what I'm looking for quality time wise. And then I've got my health, and I think last year I committed very well to Erin in terms of my PT and getting my body into a better shape than it has been for God knows how long. But the majority of that work has been to do with my mind and to do with my acceptance of my body and what it can do. And actually that's been the huge benefit, far more than any weight loss, far more than anything, has been to undo all the toxic norms of, you know, Special K diet. Shout out to all those kids that used to take Special K in a little plastic bag to school. You know, like, so Erin's work with me has been amazing, and I need to show her some fucking respect and stop fucking about and get it done. So that's obviously a goal of me this year as well. And my manifestations are important to me, telling myself that I'm capable, that I'm rested, that I'm strong, that I am a good person, I'm a good mum, I'm a good wife, I'm a good boss, reminding myself of these things. So I do those manifestations, and people might snigger at that idea, but for me, in my mind, when you are told that you're shit quite a lot, it's important to remind yourself that you're not. Yeah. So there's that. The one thing that I have fucked up, other than the Mondays, is leading maybe a little bit too far with my put myself first. So I was like all in this sort of like headspace, like, you know, I've got to find time for myself. I've got to make commitments to bettering me for everybody else's sake, for the people that I love, making sure that my body's fit and strong and that I've got time and energy for everyone and blah, blah, blah. So that comes from dedicating time and space to myself. Literally, I think it was the first week back to work. And I can't remember what we were doing, but I think we were in here, and then I had to grab my bag, get out of the office and get away up to Erin's quick sharp. It gets to Erin's, I'm sitting in the car park. I'm like, fuck, I forgot Paddy. So I've putting myself first too far. I'd left my son at work, bearing in mind he is 17. His father's also here and his sister. He'll be absolutely fine. But I did forget him. So I forgot Pads. Gets into the gym, laughing hysterically, telling Erin this joke. 10, 15 minutes later, after school's out, the club that Luna goes to. Hi, Miss Mackay. Luna's not with us. Did you pick her up today? Like, as in, like, there's a missing child. I'd forgotten to tell the schools out that Luna wasn't going with them either. So I'd forgotten not one but two children in my bid to put myself first, look after myself. And Sophie's like, you've taken this too far. Like, you're really taking it to an extreme. But yeah, it is one of the things that I have to fucking learn over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we do is we categorize our life with a certain singular column for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then everybody else, so we're here, our mind comes first, and then we filter through to all the other areas of our life.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to goal setting, like, that's where you have to start. I think more often in previous years, what I've done is put everything else first, and I'll come around at some point.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that way, and you certainly won't achieve anything by doing it that way. It's probably my biggest lesson with goal setting, I feel, is that if you can, I don't know, find it within yourself to not be a fucking martyr and actually recognize that in order for you to be the best version of yourself for everybody else, you actually do have to put yourself first. Just accept it and get the fuck on with it and make a good job of it. So I think that's my biggest lesson when it comes to goal setting.
I totally agree with you. I think I've slept in the same lesson as well, and to add to that is to have the closest people around you to understand that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in terms of like why it's important for you to have this time to look after yourself, to do the things that you would like to do, so that you can be better for them.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Because I think there was one point where I did put myself first, but didn't really communicate it to anybody else, right?
Yes.
So it was like, very much like,
why she just fucked off for 3 hours?
Yeah,
Where did she go?
That's it. And like, and it causes friction.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are we arguing about this? Like, yeah, the closest people around you have to understand that as well in order for it to work, so that they can support you, because we do need the support to be able to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But and also on top of that, one of the things that came up for me last year was like to not ask for permission.
Yeah.
Like, I can do this stuff. We get to do this stuff. This is why we're doing this stuff, and I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it. Rather than, can I do this stuff? Is that going to be okay? Yeah. Because, like, even if I had that conversation, something else will come up, and my brain will just go, oh yeah,
I'll need to do that. I'll sort that.
Of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I need to continue to work on for myself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, permission is like a huge one as well on top of that. So, yes, you first, us first, we first. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, one of the things that you brought up as well was about mortality, and how that drives your goals, your intentions. And like, one of the things for me this year specifically is I feared setting goals this year, and because I feared that there was so much going on that I had no choice and life was just going to control it all.
Going to happen to you, yeah.
But it was but then it was thinking about mortality that shifted it eventually. So it was one of the first things I did after writing down all my goals, and then facing the fear, like looking at the fear and going, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Then I did another just a journal entry to go, what's going on here? Like, you've got a choice to make, when it comes to your goals. Are you going to let life control you? And by you could die at any point. Yeah. Like I'm imagining my future in 20 years' time, but ultimately you can die any day, right?
Yeah.
or are you going to pick it up and just start fucking today?
Yeah.
Like, and I was just like, get it done. Just whatever you can, get it done. Because then, if you know that you're on your deathbed, you'll be like, I've tried.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried my fucking best. And I've got, and to be grateful for the moments that you've created for yourself as well while doing that.
Fucking right. It is a big deal. I think, thinking back, like, you know, when, you know, Chris went fucking deep on his stoicism stuff, like fucking hardcore, that daily stoic journal thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think that really helped shape, like, the mortality side of it. And I think, I mean, out of everything that we've read that we can't remember the names of, or the books, I think if there was one thing that I would take away from the Stoics, it was that. It was about the mortality thing. And that's something that everybody should be aware of. Everybody should understand. I think a lot of the decisions in the world right now would be better made if people realised how fucking little time they have.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to grab at every single fucking penny they can get their hands on, look at the fact that you're not going to see past 100, mate. What the fuck? Do something better. Do something worthwhile. So, yeah, I'd say, like, starting with the end is always a good place to begin. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Natty Shed Life podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for topics, going ahead, you can email us at NattyShedLife.com, or you can leave a comment on our YouTube channel and we will read all the comments and we reply to them all as well. Secondly, you can join our brand new email list for those of you who have been asking, how can I keep up with Natty Shed Life? If you join our email list, you will get exclusive access to write-ins from the Natty Shed Life collective. So it'll be things like stories, poetry and reflections and much more. It's all the creative stuff. And you will also get reminders of the new podcast episodes that come out too. So if you'd like to join the email list, you can head to the Natty Shed Life website and you will see a pop-up there that will ask you to join the list. See you next time. Well, right, I'll go. So we're back.
Done. Cut.
Yeah. I'm like, we're back.
Yeah.
Secondly, we've got a brand new email list that you can join because I know a few... Fuck off. We have a new email list. So if you join the email list, you will get what? What will you get? I've been called out on my behaviour.
JK,
No.
JK. You're doing great, sweetie.